Hi guys. Well, you've asked for it, so here it is. Welcome to Old Wayz number 50.
Hi guys, it's Blackie
And Bear.
and Old Wayz number 50. Now, we're trying an experiment and you're going to get to see whether this works or not.
Yeah, I have I'm off on a workman's comp injury right now, and I've got way too much time to think. And recently, Blackie did a series of commercials or shorts for the Blue Eddy Power Pack folks. And the other night we were talking and I said, I wonder if your Blue Eddy would run my pressure cooker. And an idea was born. Now, give us a few minutes and we're going to see if it was a good idea or if it was something that should have just been tossed in the dustbin. All right?
Now, here's the thing. I have no doubt that this unit's got enough horsepower. I have no doubt it's got the time. It can run it for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. Hot plates are not one of my favorite things in the world. I'm not real fond of them. I had one in, teenager in high school. Most times your home stoves are 220s and hot pads are 110s. And it would come on and it would go off. And it would come on and it would go off. And it took it forever to boil hot dogs. And it's going to do, 3 gallons of water plus all this stuff. I'm a little skeptical. Not saying it can't be done, but I'm a little skeptical.
We shall see. If it doesn't, I'll take it home and do it the old-fashioned way. But this is the hot plate that I showed you when I did the teardrop tour a couple of videos ago. And like I said the other night, we were talking and the idea just kind of struck me. I wonder.
Well, it's a good question, and I have seen pressure cookers used on an electric stove. I've seen them used on a wood stove. I'm old enough. I've actually seen wood stoves done it. I have seen them used on a propane burner like for a fish fry. And I've seen them used on a fire, 8 or 10 of them, where the little old grannies is in the kitchen, every eye of the stove is running one, and the whole group community is canning corn. And the old men had this bonfire out back, and they put down bricks to make a strip there where you could set a pressure cooker, and they would shovel hot coals underneath them and just keep them rattling. I've seen that, but I have never seen it done on a hot plate, so we shall see.
Yeah. Also, we're going to do something a little fun while this thing is doing what it's going to do. If you've been on YouTube for any length of time, you have probably seen this advertised. And it was fairly reasonably priced, so I said, why not? Well, this is a portable vacuum sealer. And what it does is you have 2 different settings. You have small mouth and you have wide mouth. This is the small mouth, okay? By taking this and unlocking and pulling, this is the large mouth. Well, in the sake of science, we're going to see if we can vacuum seal some things that I've got here on the table. This is dried pinto beans. We've also got
Red beans, some macaroni, some regular rice.
Yeah.
And I had 2 bags of dried peas, but we're not going to do them right
Well,
now.
here's the thing. The reason we're not going to do them is because if you're going to do something like this, you need to put your peas in the freezer for at least 48 hours. That way it kills anything that might be in there that you don't want hatching and eating up your peas. Not that it would happen in a vacuum, but you understand. And when you get them out, they're gonna be partially frozen. So let them sit out and come up to room temperature. And, again, in the interest of science, let's see what'll happen.
Okay, first off, let me see your vacuum thing. We'll get up there and let me see up close.
Here's the smallmouth.
Okay, smallmouth. This container right here, and it has a hole right there, and it's got a seal all the way around. It's going to grip on the top of the lid and just suck air out of it. The big one has the hole in the middle, and again, it's got a seal right here to grip on the outside of that lid and just suck all the air out of the jar, literally. Now, what kind of stuff are you going to vacuum seal versus canning? I'm assuming it's going to be dry stuff like
Yes.
the macaroni and stuff like that.
Right, this is dried pinto beans.
And this just protects them better than leaving them in the bag to put them in the pantry or something like that. Especially if you have to store, you know, any kind of length of time. It just makes sure you don't get a mouse in there that's going to burn a lot of stuff by getting into it.
All right, let me show you what we've done. This is a jar full of beans. This space here up to this neck is approximately 1 inch. And as you can see, I've left 1 inch of headspace, okay? That's why this distance is called. Now let's see if the vacuum sealer does what it says it will. All right. The lid goes into place. You don't even need the ring.
Just set the sealer down around it and push it down.
Right. I've set the sealer on top. You want to bring the camera in?
Yeah, hold on a second. And I will freehand it for an up close.
All right. There's 2 buttons right here. It took me a while to find it, but there's a big one that turns it on, and the inside one
It's just sucking air around that seal. And it's got a counter up there, counting up what it's doing, 12, 13, 14. And that's pulling that air out from around those seeds. Now, don't do this on anything but a mason jar. Mason jars are thicker and designed to do it. If you try to reuse the peanut jar, it may shatter it. It ain't designed to hold a vacuum. But mason jars are designed to hold a vacuum.
if I understand what the directions said, that's the pounds of pressure that it's evacuating. And if you'll notice right here, it has a USB port to recharge it.
Awesome. Not very loud, quick
No.
and easy. All you do is just push it on and let it start doing it. You don't put the ring on until after you take this off. All right, it quit at 98.
Okay, did you see it lift?
It physically lifts off,
Yeah.
and you gently wiggle it off. All right, now your seal should be concave, which means sunken in. That tells you do have a seal on it.
Ready?
All right. Yep, it's
Locked.
sealed.
See, that's just the lid. So this is done.
Now you just put your ring on it for security.
You can, or if you prefer, you can store it like this. It's up to you. If you'll notice, right here in the center, you see that little divot? That's your key. If that divot's up, you've got a leak.
Yeah, if it pops up, and that's one of the advantages to leaving the ring off. Now, I put the ring on for handling, you know, but when you're going to go sit it on the shelf and it's going to be here for 4 or 5 months, or loosen the ring or take the ring off. That way, if it goes, it'll pop off and you can actually see that this one's no good. Anytime you're checking it to pull it out to use it, always finger check that, make sure it's still got that seal on. Okay, I'm going to set you back up.
Like we've told y'all time and time again, old Wayz is not hard. That may take a little creative engineering from time to time, but all in all, it's not hard, okay?
1 second, I don't know what this can is for, but I'm gonna put it right there as a wind block.
That's spices for the other stuff.
That's fine. I just want to block the wind for that
Yeah.
top pad and to keep that top and having that cool wind drop from the tent. All right?
This is an extra can that I found at the house. That's my spice can.
Who's
All right,
that?
that's Matthew.
Okay, cool. You can edit that out.
All right, you ready?
Ready.
And, this is probably weird to say, but this is really kind of fun.
Now, how much did something like this cost you?
Shipping and handling, I think it was about $35.
That's relatively cheap.
Consider the money that you're gonna save, yeah, it's real cheap. And because these are dried beans and they're vacuum sealed, okay? Dried beans can sit on the shelf until the cows come home.
Yeah, you're talking decades.
Yeah, this virtually has no shelf life.
Well, that's one of the advantages of being able to do something like this and buy the big bulk bag of like dry rice, I'm sorry. And then cull out what you need that you're gonna use over the next week or two or whatever, and then do something like this with the rest of it, so you've got a lot longer larder, and it's not in that bag that can be easily, opened a hole in or whatever. There you go. Just gotta wiggle it around and make it happen.
That's a good seal. So in the space of what, 2 minutes?
2 minutes.
We've got 2 jars.
That is awesome. Dry macaroni, dry rice,
Yep.
beans. This is a hard pantry. This is something that's gonna be there for, you wanna supplement it with other stuff, but at the same time with this, you can easily put it up, buy this stuff cheap,
Right.
do this, keep reusing these jars, just don't reuse the seals.
Right.
Other than that,
Actually, you probably, because there's
With this.
nothing in there that's cooked yet, theoretically, you might be able to reuse the lid, but, I'll leave that up to you. Trash bag.
go back. I can serve as a trash man.
All right. That's 300 milliliters or 10 ounces of beans. There's probably 2 inches of headspace on this one versus these two.
Okay, I'm just looking to figure out what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Just gently work it on there, don't tear your seal, push it down. Alright,
And there's a little bitty button inside the bigger one.
okay.
Yeah, you have to use your fingernail.
Ah, okay, well, 20, oh, excuse me. Other side, 7, 8, 9. This would be something easy for the kids to help you with.
Oh, yeah. Mine would love this.
Now, being able to, not just food, being able to vacuum seal certain things so they wouldn't go moldy, mildew, some sort of, this cannot be replicated. I gotta keep this. There might be other things you may want to do this with.
It's
Warming up.
warming a little bit.
Well, that's the thing. It's time. Getting that much mass of water. I'm sure you give it all day, it'll do it. It's just, I don't know if it's got the oompa to do it in a timely manner.
This and one more time will be twice we've done this.
Okay, there, it turns off, now you just gently rock it.
Just rock it off.
Like that. And it is Dipple. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, what Blakey was talking about a minute ago, you buy this stuff on sale. I bought this on clearance, okay? Those beans and stuff, it was all on clearance. And get several more of those jars over there.
These?
Yeah,
Okay.
just those three will be fine.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift gears. And we're going to do some macaroni. Yes, I did freeze the macaroni. That way, it's like we said in 49, the Food and Drug Administration allows a certain percentage of what they call contaminants. Use your imagination in food. When I was a sergeant in the Alabama Department of Corrections, I had an inmate in the kitchen come to me and show me a can that had a locust, about that big in it.
Yeah.
And that was, according to FDA rules, acceptable. And I told him to go talk to the steward. I don't know what happened.
We had, when I was at Walmart, we had a bag of salad, you know, with some mixed salad ready to go. Show up with a live frog in it.
A live frog?
He was alive. A live green frog inside the bag, and scared the snot out of the lady. She was putting them out. They had just come in, they were new. And I said, well, you cannot say this isn't fresh, by God. And I cut him out of the bag and took him out and turned him loose. He was just a standard tree frog. He just got in there in California and rode all the way to Alabama.
On these vacuum seals, you really don't have to have headspace, but that's just a habit that I've gotten into.
Just give it, you know, don't overfill it. You don't want to be pressing against, because it cannot push that lid down and compress. It can just suck the air out. So don't think it's going to shove anything. If it's overfilled jar, it ain't going to push it down. But if it's got space for that lid to sink in, you're fine. Waiting on the thing to quit humming.
Coming up on 50%.
Well, it does make good sense. I mean, because like I said, we both grew up in houses where the house can be clean or whatever, but in winter you get a mouse in there, oh boy, can they do some damage in a hurry. We opened up the spice cabinet one day, which was up over here over the stove, and we rarely ever went into it. And my wife opened it up to grab something out, and when she did, the label on it was just shredded. And what it is, we had 5 cats. The mouse had come in from the attic. He had actually come down from the top where the flue that takes the exhaust from the stove was going out. He had gnawed a hole and came down into the spice cabinet and had ate the labels off of about half of the stuff. That's the only thing in there to get into, because everything's in glass jars. So he ate the labels. And my wife was going, oh my God, what are we going to do to fix this? No problem. I set the jars down, leaving that bottom shelf empty. I walked over and picked up Hannah, who was our best mouseketeer, opened the door, put her in the cabinet, and closed it. And she said, she won't stay in there. And she didn't come out. So she smells mouse. She'll wait. 30 minutes later, we were sitting there watching TV, and I opened the door, she had the mouse still alive by the scruff of the neck like guiding boss. I opened the door, he dropped, she jumped down on the counter, went to the front door, I opened the front door and she carried it out. Cats serve a purpose in a homestead type thing.
Well, I have to admit, there's a lot of truth in that. Over the winter, I've had a family of feral cats take up squatters' rights under my house. My mouse population has been nothing.
Gone.
Absolute zero.
Well, used to in the towns, I mean, I remember growing up that the game warden, the dog catcher would catch one of the local cats and take them into the vet, and the vet would sterilize them, and then they would cut a tip of the ear off. And they'd come to turn that cat back loose. That did two things. One, he's fixed, he can't reproduce. Two, he claims this is his territory and he won't let other cats come in here. And three, you got a 10-year-long mouser running around you ain't got to feed. And it keeps the mouse population down in a town. We had a lot coming out of that cotton mill underneath that sewer. There were womp rats under there. And if you didn't have a cat, you had a problem. I don't care how clean your house was. They would come up out of the sewers at night. And but if you had a big old tomcat living there in the house, you didn't have so much of a trouble.
No.
So that's one of the reasons there are no city ordinances, at least down here with us, on putting a leash on a cat, because they want cats to free roam to keep mice population.
There's no ordinance on cats.
They ain't none on cats for that reason.
Now you got city ordinances on dogs, but I don't know of a single town around here that's got an ordinance against a cat.
Yeah, because a cat is the one that keeps the mice population down. And as long as you'll be responsible and take the animal, make sure it's had a rabies shot, and make sure that it's been sterilized, turn the thing loose in your backyard, leave it alone. You know? Nice and fixed.
And when you go to open it, it'll go.
Yeah, it'll pop in that air. Now, since we do this, if I was going to be, I'm just looking at this and thinking, if I was going to be putting up something I was not usually putting up, some sort of bean, rice, or whatever, I would probably write on the lid any special cooking instruction or whatever with the Sharpie, so that I knew when I opened this up that you got to cook it for 2 hours or whatever. So that would be where I would go with this.
Right.
Well, guys, we're going to stop the camera for a little bit and give that time to boil. If we get a boil out of it, we'll be back in a minute. If not, we'll be back in a minute. In 3, 2, 1. Okay.
All right, guys. In the interest of time, we have moved into the kitchen. The hot plate was a good idea, but its time has not come yet.
It's working, but it was just simply slow. Now, in a grid down type situation where you're going to be using it's only heat source you got, and you got a solar power source, whatever, yeah, it would work. It's just going to take you half a day to do it, but you could do it. So,
right. And like he was saying earlier, it can be done on a campfire.
Oh yeah. But maybe you can't afford a campfire. I mean, for various reasons, you don't want to either A, attract attention, B, let everybody know you're canning meat, or, you know, just simply that you're trying to do it another way. So it's not a bad way to do it. I wouldn't feel bad about it. But at the same time, it performed a lot better than I really expected it to be honest. So what we're doing right now is we're cubing up meat to go in the jars. Now what we're making is going to be what? Basically a stew inside of a jar, right?
Yeah, it's going to be each jar is going to be a self-contained meal that all you've got to do is pull it down off the shelf and warm it up for a few minutes until it's as hot as you want it, and then eat it. or you can eat it straight out of the jar.
WC neck knife, superior kitchen tool.
Show that again. That is the WC neck knife,
A superior kitchen tool.
a superior kitchen tool, as are all of Williams' products.
Oh man, I love them. I really do. That hook right there, man, it is just perfect for doing this type of meat. And as you can see, I'm able to cut, and I'm also removing excess fat and silver skin as I'm doing it, because I can just use that hook to hook it and just slice right through it, no problem. Really?
While he's doing that, let me also show you, we have potatoes and carrots, and in the plate down there are onions to go into the jar with the meat. And we've got seasoning that will go in also.
We've been seeing this lady online on YouTube doing this from some other part of the world.
Yeah, I can't quite figure out if she's from the Ukraine or if she's from Russia, but she's from that general geographic area. Her website, her channel is My Kitchen Tanya, I believe is the way it translates. But
yeah, she seems to have really good ways of doing it.
Yeah, you have to read the English subtitles though.
Which is fine.
Oh yeah.
You know, you don't have to speak English to be a good cook. In fact, I found people from all over the world that can be an outstanding cook. When I was working for Enterprise Electronics, dealing with foreign nationals, doing the military government contract work for radar military, and one thing was when they would come to the States to learn how to work on the radars that we were selling them, and it was anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks school. And on my spare time, at the company's permission, I would take care of them, take them to grocery stores, get them out, otherwise they're just stuck sitting at the hotel the whole weekend, you know, because the factory shut down. And one of my requests was I would be happy to take them and whatever, but I wanted them to cook for me before they went home what they eat, you know. So I've got to eat stuff from all over the world. I mean, it was really impressive the ways they could cook and do things. See, I trimmed all that fat off just like that. And
just for our health conscious viewers.
Yep. And so it was, I've had goat, I've had Asian stuff, Middle Eastern stuff, South American stuff, some of the requests they would give me for, one time, could they get sheep's eyeballs? No, I don't know of any of that at Walmart. I'm sorry. So I had to skip the sheep eyeball soup. But other than that, the other stuff was usually really, really good. There, completed. Anything else you want me to cut up?
I think we're good.
All right, cool.
All right, we're going to pause the camera and be right back. All right, guys. What we're going to do is we're going to start with a layer of the diced beef. And it's just a couple of good pinches at the time. This is not scientific. Now in these smaller jars, we won't put as much, but we'll divide it between the larger jars. All right. You can see that right there. And you can feed a couple of people off of one quart jar.
So it's about a third meat.
Yeah, ish. I'm a carnivore.
Yeah.
I own it. Alright guys, I'm gonna grab some potatoes. Yes, this would be easier with a filling funnel, but I left mine at the house.
Meat and potatoes, we're already starting out good.
Alright. You can see the layers
Mm-hmm.
building up.
Now, should you press them down in there to compress them or leave them loose?
We've got the thing in there that will take the air pockets out. It's out here that we've washed and got out.
Right.
So what I'm going to do now is add onions. In case you don't know, the quickest, easiest way to get rid of the onions on your hands is to rub something that's stainless steel.
Mm-hmm.
That will pull it right off.
We've got a big stainless steel spoon at the house that I use.
That may be overkill with the onions.
Need some garlic in there.
That's one thing I didn't remember to bring. Now we're going to add some of these peas. You got, where's your knife at?
Right here. Okay.
All right. Now, all we're going to do is just pour them straight in.
Now, is there a given order that you're supposed to follow, or just random put them in there as long as it's all in the same place?
I would put the harder stuff toward the bottom, which means that I should have put the carrots in first before I put in the
Meat.
the peas. Meat on the bottom, potatoes, then the carrots, and then the onions, and then the butter beans. Would probably be the best way to do it. But since we're already this far in,
We're experimenting. Now we're going to grab a handful of carrots. And what he doesn't put into jars is going to go home and go into the stew pot for dinner tonight.
yep. I have to be fair to Blackie. I sprung this on him. We were just going to do a simple canning video, but he had to go away, had to leave for a few minutes, and I thought, why not?
Yep, flip the script.
So I flipped the script on him.
I don't know if you can put any carrots in that one.
Yeah,
That's alright, it'd be a carrot lid. Just put one or two in there for color.
how about some rice?
If you think you got room in there. Will rice actually work with all that? Okay.
Oh yeah,
Alright.
oh yeah, but I would normally put it farther down the jar. We got room for carrots.
Okay.
Not a lot of room for carrots, but we got room for carrots.
Just got to have room so the top of that seal will drop down. That looks good.
Now, one thing that we do need to do is we're going to add our dry seasoning. All right.
Hold on, I'll back up the camera just a little bit. All right, we're in better position to go.
Alright guys. Got about a teaspoon and a half of salt. I probably will not put all of that in there. There's about a teaspoonful of salt right there. That's half of a tablespoon.
In the smaller jars, you'll do less.
Yes. And I
Okay.
want to put I want to put my dry ingredients in first.
So don't fill them full of water and then try to put your seasoning in there, is what
No.
you're saying.
We're going to add our water right here at the end. Alright, I'm going to put the pepper in.
How much pepper we going with?
About half a teaspoon of pepper.
Okay.
Ish.
Ish.
You're going to find, for those of you who are not from our beloved South, that cooks in the South rarely measure anything.
Even though you're using a tablespoon, you know how much a teaspoon is on a tablespoon, and therefore you can use it for one measure for everything. That's what I do anyway.
Somewhere, way back in one of Mama's spoon drawers, she has an Army surplus spoon that's got all the little measurements cut into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I could find that.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. There's a little pepper there. Now, in honor of Tanya and her channel, we're going to put a little paprika in ours. She puts paprika in everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, in honor of Tanya from Ukraine or Russia or wherever she's from, and this is sweet paprika. Boy, that smells good. Alright, now, because we don't have any acidic foods, we have to add vinegar.
This is plain old white vinegar.
Yes,
This
plain
is
old-
the white vinegar you get in the food section, not the white vinegar that's really strong in the cleaning section. Make sure you do that.
Yeah, this is 5%.
Mm-hmm.
It comes in 5% and 9%. And if you use the 9%, you only put 1 spoonful in. If you use the 5%, you use 2 spoonfuls.
And we're talking about tablespoons here, guys. Now, if you had acidic foods like tomatoes, you wouldn't have to do this, as memory serves. But I'm pulling back on memories from 50 plus years ago, so, you know.
Alright. Now, moment of truth. What we're going to do is I'm going to take the lid. I'll set the lid in place. Hear that?
Mm-hmm.
That's the vacuum you want to draw. Okay, you don't want it to do that. And I will put my ring on. Oops, wait a minute.
You got to put water in there, don't you?
I do. but that's not what I was oopsing.
Okay.
Give me just a second, I gotta wipe the lid, and I gotta wipe the inside of that jar lid.
What are you gonna wipe it with?
Vinegar.
Gotcha.